The summer heat shimmered over Maple Grove Estates, a meticulously maintained suburban neighborhood where manicured lawns and unspoken social codes reigned supreme. Michael Reyes had always been an outsider, a first-generation Mexican-American software engineer who had worked tirelessly to build his dream home. The pool had been more than just a luxury, it was a symbol of his success, a testament to the years of grinding through startup jobs and late nights of coding. Sarah Thompson had been eyeing the property line for months. A longtime resident of the neighborhood, she prided herself on maintaining what she considered the character of the community. Michael's modern home, with its sleek design and bold landscaping, stood in stark contrast to the cookie-cutter houses that lined the street. The tension had been brewing since the day he moved in. It started with small complaints. Sarah first complained about the height of his fence, then the color of his exterior paint. She'd make passive-aggressive comments at neighborhood association meetings, her voice dripping with thinly veiled racism masked as concern for community standards. Michael had always remained calm, choosing to ignore her provocations. The property line dispute was the final straw. A small section of Michael's pool equipment extended what Sarah claimed was 6 inches over the previously undefined boundary. She had measurements, historical plat maps, and an army of equally entitled neighbors backing her claims. Michael had hired a surveyor who definitively proved his construction was completely legal, but Sarah wasn't one to back down easily. On that fateful Thursday afternoon, the temperature had climbed to 103 degrees. Michael was on a work call in his home office, the cool hum of the air conditioning a stark contrast to the blazing heat outside. His wife Alina was at the hospital where she worked as a pediatric nurse. Their 2 children were at summer camp, blissfully unaware of the drama about to unfold. Sarah's black Mercedes SUV came roaring into view, dust kicking up behind its massive tires. The security cameras captured every horrifying moment with crystal clarity. She didn't just drive into the pool area, she accelerated, her face a mask of pure rage. The vehicle smashed through the carefully laid decorative stonework, plunging into the crystalline water with a thunderous crash. Concrete shattered, expensive tiling cracked like fragile glass. The pool liner tore open, water gushing out like a massive wound. The entire incident took less than 30 seconds. When Michael rushed outside, the scene was apocalyptic. His $75,000 pool, a project that had taken months of planning and saving, was now in disaster zone. Water continued to pour out, creating a muddy lake in his meticulously landscaped backyard. The SUV sat half-submerged, steam rising from its crumpled hood, a testament to Sarah's uncontrolled fury. Neighbors began to emerge from their homes, smartphones already out, recording the aftermath. Some looked shocked. Others, those who knew Sarah's reputation, seemed almost unsurprised. Michael stood frozen, the weight of months of subtle harassment culminating in this moment of absolute destruction. His first thought wasn't anger. It was a strange, detached curiosity about what could drive a person to such an extreme act. Little did he know, this moment would be the beginning of a journey that would transform both his and Sarah's lives in ways neither could have ever imagined. The Maple Grove Police Department arrived with a mixture of professional courtesy and barely concealed frustration. Officer Derek Martinez, a 12-year veteran of the force, had responded to complaints involving Sarah Thompson more times than he cared to remember. He recognized the pattern immediately, another escalation in her long history of neighborhood conflicts. Rebecca Chen's law office was a testament to precision and strategic thinking. A second-generation Chinese-American attorney specializing in property law, she had built her reputation on meticulously documented cases. When Michael walked into her office, clutching a folder of security camera footage and neighborhood witness statements, Rebecca saw more than just a simple property damage case. "This isn't just about a destroyed pool," Rebecca explained, spreading the documents across her conference room table. "This is a pattern of harassment with documented history." She pulled out a thick file that detailed Sarah's previous neighborhood disputes. There were complaints from at least 5 different neighbors over the past decade. Landscaping arguments, noise complaints, and even a previous incident involving a restraining order that had been settled out of court. The evidence was compelling. Security camera footage showed Sarah's deliberate approach, the acceleration, a moment of impact. Forensic estimates placed the damage at nearly $85,000, not just the pool, but the surrounding landscaping, potential structural damage to the surrounding area, and the emotional distress caused by the incident. Michael learned that Sarah had a history that extended beyond just neighborhood disputes. Her divorce records, which Rebecca carefully obtained through legal channels, revealed a pattern of volatile behavior. She had lost primary custody of her children 2 years prior, a fact that had seemingly pushed her into a spiral of increasing aggression and social isolation. The neighborhood quickly took sides. Some residents who had long been frustrated with Sarah's behavior began to come forward with additional information. A retired teacher shared how Sarah had once attempted to have him fired for a perceived slight. A local business owner recounted how she tried to sabotage his restaurant's health inspection over a parking dispute. Alina, Michael's wife, approached the legal battle with a mix of anger and strategic thinking. As a healthcare professional, she saw the incident through a lens of mental health and community impact. "This isn't just about revenge," she told Michael one evening. "This is about understanding and preventing future incidents." The criminal charges were straightforward: felony property damage, potentially with additional charges of reckless endangerment. The civil case was where things would get complex. Rebecca estimated that between the pool restoration, landscaping repair, potential punitive damages, and the emotional distress claim, they could be looking at a settlement in the range of $250,000 to $350,000. Sarah's legal representation was an overworked public defender named James Rodriguez, who immediately recognized the uphill battle. The evidence was overwhelming, and Sarah's past behavior would make it nearly impossible to mount a meaningful defense. Her initial strategy seemed to be negotiating a plea deal that might minimize potential jail time. As the legal machinery began to grind into motion, Michael found himself in an unexpected emotional state. It wasn't pure satisfaction or anger, but a complex mixture of emotions. He wanted justice, yes, but he was also troubled by the human cost of the situation. The destroyed pool was more than just a financial loss. It was a symbol of something deeper, a breakdown of community trust and personal restraint. The deeper investigation into Sarah Townsend's life revealed a narrative far more complex than anyone had anticipated. Elena Reyes, with her background in healthcare and intuitive understanding of human suffering, became the first to push for a more compassionate approach to understanding Sarah's actions. Private investigator Marcus Green, hired by Rebecca Chen to build a comprehensive background for the case, uncovered a series of personal tragedies that had systematically dismantled Sarah's life. 5 years earlier, her husband Robert had been diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's, a devastating blow that began her descent into chronic stress and social isolation. At 45, she found herself caring for a husband who was gradually losing his memory, while simultaneously trying to maintain her career in real estate. The divorce proceedings had been particularly brutal. Robert's family, wealthy and influential, had used their connections to paint Sarah as an unstable caregiver. They successfully argued for limited visitation with her 2 teenage children, who had been strategically manipulated to view their mother as emotionally volatile. Her son Jake and daughter Emma had been largely estranged, communication reduced to perfunctory holiday text messages and occasional forced family gatherings. Financial records told a brutal story of decline. The medical expenses for Robert's care had decimated their once substantial savings. Sarah's real estate commissions, once a source of pride, had dwindled as her mental health deteriorated. She was underwater on her mortgage, facing potential foreclosure, and had been denied additional credit lines. Interviews with her former colleagues revealed a stark transformation. Once considered a top-performing real estate agent known for her assertive negotiation skills, Sarah had become increasingly erratic. Minor conflicts that she would have previously navigated with professional finesse now triggered explosive reactions. Her colleagues spoke of a woman who seemed to be constantly on the edge, her professional facade crumbling under the weight of personal challenges. A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Emma Thompson, her daughter, contacted Michael's attorney with additional context. In a carefully worded statement, she explained her mother's mental health struggles. The pool incident, she revealed, was the culmination of years of suppressed anger, not just about the property line, but about a lifetime of feeling marginalized and powerless. The medical records were particularly revealing. Sarah had been diagnosed with complex PTSD exacerbated by years of caregiver stress and familial conflict. Her therapist's notes painted a picture of a woman who had been systematically broken down by life's unexpected challenges. The pool destruction wasn't just an act of vandalism. It was a cry for help, a moment of complete emotional breakdown. Michael found himself wrestling with conflicting emotions. The anger that had initially driven him to seek maximum legal punishment began to give way to a more nuanced understanding. Elena's influence was evident. She saw the human being behind the destructive act, recognizing the profound pain that could drive someone to such an extreme response. Rebecca Chen advised caution. "Empathy is important," she told Michael, "but we can't ignore the very real damage that was done. The legal process needs to hold her accountable while also recognizing her circumstances." The neighborhood watched with a mixture of curiosity and growing unease. What had begun as a clear-cut case of property destruction was transforming into a more complex narrative about mental health, community support, and the thin line between personal struggle and criminal behavior. For the first time since the incident, Michael began to see Sarah not as a villain, but as a deeply wounded human being, someone who had been pushed to her absolute breaking point by a series of personal tragedies that would have challenged even the most resilient individual. The fallout was swift and merciless. Oakwood Realty, the prestigious real estate firm where Sarah had been a top-performing agent for over 15 years, called an emergency meeting the morning after the pool incident went viral on local news and social media. The firm's senior partners, led by Vincent Holloway, a man known for his carefully curated public image, saw Sarah as a potential liability that needed to be immediately excised. Marketing director Lauren Chen compiled a dossier documenting the incident's impact. Screenshots of social media posts, local news coverage, and community forum discussions painted a damning picture. Within hours, Sarah's professional reputation had been completely eviscerated. Clients who had been mid-transaction began pulling out, their trust irreparably damaged by the viral video of her SUV destroying Michael Reyes' pool. The first domino fell quickly. An ongoing sale of a $1.2 million lakefront property, a deal Sarah had been cultivating for months, collapsed immediately. The potential buyers, a tech executive and his wife, cited concerns about the agent's professional judgment and mental stability in their withdrawal. It was a devastating blow, as the commission from this single sale would have covered her mounting medical and legal expenses. Social media became a ruthless court of public opinion. Local community Facebook groups and neighborhood apps like Nextdoor exploded with discussions about Sarah's behavior. What began as a local incident quickly spread, with the story being shared across multiple suburban networks. Memes were created, screenshots were circulated, and Sarah became an overnight cautionary tale of professional meltdown. Her professional network began to disintegrate. Colleagues who had once sought her mentorship now distanced themselves completely. The annual real estate awards, where Sarah had been a consistent top performer, now seemed like a distant memory. Her LinkedIn profile, once a testament to her success, became a digital ghost town of professional isolation. The local real estate board initiated disciplinary proceedings. Their investigation wasn't just about the criminal charges, it was about her fitness to maintain her professional license. Years of build-up, minor complaints, increasing reports of erratic behavior, and now this catastrophic incident created a perfect storm of professional destruction. Emma Thompson, watching her mother's professional collapse, felt a complex mixture of embarrassment and deep protective anger. She understood the pressures her mother had been under, the years of caregiver stress, the family conflicts that had slowly eroded her mother's mental stability. To the outside world, this looked like a simple case of a Karen losing control. But Emma knew the deeper story. A story of a woman who had been systematically broken down by life's unrelenting challenges. Financial advisors brought in to assess the damage concluded that Sarah's professional rehabilitation would be nearly impossible. The viral nature of the incident meant that any future client could easily find the video with a simple internet search. Her years of professional reputation had been destroyed in a matter of hours. Vincent Holloway's official statement was a masterpiece of corporate distancing. Oakwood Realty has zero tolerance for behaviors that compromise our professional standards and community trust, he told local media, effectively closing the door on Sarah's 15-year career with the firm. The irony was not lost on Michael Reyes. The woman who had tried to destroy his property was now watching her own life's work crumble. What had begun as a property line dispute had transformed into a complete professional annihilation. Yet, as he watched the events unfold, Michael found himself feeling less triumphant and more contemplative about the fragility of professional reputation and personal stability. For Sarah, the professional consequences were just beginning. Each passing day brought new challenges: canceled contracts, withdrawn references, and a professional network that had become a wasteland of burned bridges and lost opportunities. The court-mandated mediation session was scheduled in a nondescript conference room at a local municipal building. Neutral tones of beige and gray seemed to absorb the tension that hung thick in the air. Michael Reyes sat on one side, Elena's hand resting supportively on his shoulder. Sarah Thompson appeared diminished, a shadow of the aggressive woman who had destroyed their pool just months earlier. Dr. Amelia Rodriguez, the court-appointed mediator, was a seasoned professional with over 2 decades of experience in conflict resolution. She had seen countless cases, but something about this one felt different. As she reviewed the preliminary documents, she recognized the layers of personal trauma that had led to this moment. Sarah's initial posture was defensive. Her lawyer had advised her to say as little as possible, but the weight of her recent losses seemed to crack her carefully constructed exterior. When she began to speak, it wasn't with the combative tone everyone expected. Instead, her voice was barely above a whisper, laden with a vulnerability that caught everyone off guard. "I never meant for things to go this far," she began, her hands trembling slightly. The story that emerged was a tapestry of personal devastation. She spoke of her husband Robert's Alzheimer's diagnosis, the slow erosion of their marriage, the children who had been turned against her by his wealthy family. The pool incident wasn't just about a property line. It was the culmination of years of feeling powerless and watching her life systematically dismantled. Michael listened, his initial anger giving way to a complex mixture of emotions. Elena squeezed his hand, her medical background helping her recognize the signs of someone in profound emotional distress. The security cameras, the property damage, the legal charges, they were just surface-level manifestations of a much deeper pain. Dr. Rodriguez guided the conversation with surgical precision. She asked pointed questions that revealed the fracture lines in Sarah's life, the caregiver stress, the professional pressures, the family conflicts that had pushed her to this breaking point. It became clear that the pool destruction was less an act of malice and more a moment of complete emotional breakdown. Emma Thompson, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. "My mother was never like this," she said, her voice cracking. "The stress of caring for my father, losing her career, being cut off from us, it changed her." Her words added another layer of complexity to the narrative, transforming Sarah from a villain to a victim of circumstances. Rebecca Chen, Michael's attorney, watched the proceedings with a professional detachment that was slowly giving way to genuine human empathy. This was no longer just a straightforward legal case about property damage. It was a human story of loss, mental health, and the breaking points we all have. The turning point came unexpectedly. Michael, breaking from the advice of his legal team, spoke directly to Sarah. "What happened to you?" he asked, not accusatorily, but with genuine curiosity and compassion. It was a question that seemed to shatter something within Sarah. Her breakdown was visceral. Years of accumulated pain, stress, and isolation came pouring out. She spoke about feeling invisible, about the gradual erosion of her sense of self. The pool incident wasn't just about a property line. It was a desperate cry for acknowledgement, for someone to see her pain. Dr. Rodriguez recognized this as a critical moment. This wasn't just a mediation session, it was a potential pathway to healing. The legal framework suddenly seemed inadequate to address the deeper human drama unfolding before them. As the session drew to a close, something fundamental had shifted. The binary narrative of victim and perpetrator had dissolved, replaced by a more nuanced understanding of human fragility, resilience, and the compel. The restorative justice proposal was unprecedented in their local judicial circuit. Michael worked closely with Judge Elizabeth Hartman, a progressive jurist known for her innovative approach to conflict resolution. What emerged was a carefully crafted intervention that went far beyond traditional legal remedies. The program Michael proposed would become a blueprint for community healing. Sarah would be required to complete 500 hours of community service with a specific focus on mental health awareness and support for caregivers. But it wasn't just about punishment. It was about reconstruction, both literal and metaphorical. The pool restoration became a meticulously planned rehabilitation project. Sarah would work alongside professional contractors, learning construction skills while physically rebuilding the damage she had caused. Each day of work was monitored by a court-appointed supervisor, Daniel Martinez, a retired social worker with extensive experience in conflict resolution. Elena Rees played a crucial role in designing the mental health component of Sarah's rehabilitation. Drawing from her professional experience in healthcare, she helped develop a comprehensive support program. Weekly therapy sessions, support groups for caregivers, and professional development workshops became mandatory parts of Sarah's court-ordered rehabilitation. The neighborhood had watched with a mixture of skepticism and cautious hope. What had begun as a clear-cut case of property destruction was transforming into a complex narrative of community healing. Local media began covering the story, highlighting the innovative approach to conflict resolution. Emma Thompson found herself reconnecting with her mother through this unexpected process. The structured rehabilitation provided a framework for rebuilding their relationship, something that had seemed impossible just months earlier. She began accompanying her mother to community service events, witnessing a gradual transformation. Robert, Sarah's ex-husband now in advanced stages of Alzheimer's, became an unexpected source of perspective. His care facility became one of the primary locations for Sarah's community service. There was a profound irony in her caring for other caregivers, working through the very trauma that had nearly destroyed her life. The pool restoration became a metaphorical journey of healing. Each day, Sarah worked alongside professionals, learning not just construction skills, but also lessons in patience, accountability, and personal growth. The contractors, initially skeptical, began to see her as more than just the woman who had destroyed the pool. They saw her potential for redemption. Michael's tech company became involved in an unexpected way. Recognizing the potential for a broader impact, he developed a nonprofit program focused on supporting caregivers experiencing mental health challenges. Sarah would eventually become a key speaker and consultant for the organization, her personal story becoming a powerful tool for awareness. Judge Hartman's final report was groundbreaking. "This is not about punishment," she wrote, "but about community healing and individual transformation." The case became a talking point in legal circles, challenging traditional approaches to property damage and personal conflict. The financial restitution was carefully structured. Instead of a massive monetary penalty, Sarah's payments were tied to her community service and professional rehabilitation. She would rebuild her real estate license, but under strict supervision and with mandatory mental health support. As the pool slowly took shape, more beautiful and technologically advanced than its previous iteration, became a symbol of something greater than mere property restoration. It represented the possibility of healing, of second chances, of finding hope in the most unexpected places. Daniel Martinez, reflecting on the process, noted something profound. "We often see conflict as a zero-sum game," he told Michael during one of their many discussions. "But true resolution is about creating something new, not just fixing what was broken."